guys, I'm Priyanka, and on today's episode of Ketchup Talks on Social Ketchup, we have Candida Lewis and Asad Abid of MX Players' new show, Cruising Legends, with us. Yeah. So, first, just I'd like to begin by just asking you guys, it's not that great out there right now, but overall, how has this year and the last year been for you guys? Candida, would you like to begin?
Yeah, so being on the road for the last 6 years, like continuously on the road, it's definitely been difficult to stay in one place for such an extended period of time. But like after 6 years, this is the first time I'm getting to spend so much of time at home, getting to spend time with family and doing other things which I've never had the opportunity of doing before. So that's a relief. Um, but I have to be honest, it has definitely been tough. But then when the lockdown eased last year and we got to go to Arunachal and I got to go to Karnataka and a few other places, that was the best experience, I would say, because like after being at home for 7 long months, I got to feel that freedom and that uh, yeah, just pure joy and happiness again. So yeah, but yeah, again, it's pretty difficult, but I would say we're lucky enough to be at home and spend time with families, so not complaining.
Yeah, for us, it's actually been busy, for us, relatively. I think once the lockdown was imposed, we got more inquiries about getting content made, at the web. So there were a lot of, we did like a big campaign for Amazon and then this show. And yeah, I just think we've been lucky enough to actually get work more proactively than when we were in a normal state, But overall, emotionally and with whatever that's happening around the world, that kind of is a downer. There's only so much hope you can, keep getting happy with, and there's no point of only you're happy and the rest of the world is like, suffering. So that's kind of a bummer. That kind of got to almost all of us.
For MX Players, Cruising Legends, did this happen during the last year or was it done before?
Yeah. So we were filming in November of 2020. That's when we did it. We were just about just about the first wave was just phasing out back then, and Arunachal was the only state that was open for tourism back then, and we said okay, and we've always maintained this, that whatever our content is has a very positive vibe and a very hopeful feel to the theme itself, in that sense. And we realized that it would be quite a challenge to pull this off with just the pandemic phasing out, the first wave phasing out. But yeah, we took all the precautions in place and pulled it off. Yeah, it was nice.
Candida, how was it for you as a rider? Was there stress on one side where you were just heading out while there was still a pandemic around the world? Did thoughts like these sort of question your decision on being a part of the show or something like that?
Yeah, it was a very difficult time. I was very excited to be a part of the show. Yeah. And you know how uncertain these times are that we live in. So the day before actually a week before I could leave, and the vibe asked me to take a COVID test, it came back positive. But it was like a false positive. So I ended up taking 4 more tests same day and the very next day. Everything came back negative.
Okay.
So it started off very bumpy. Like, like I was like so upset because we've been planning for this for almost a month, and then that one positive kind of like changed everything for me. But then I knew I am completely fine because I was at home for like 14 days. Before I could take the test and stuff. So, yeah, luckily all the other test reports came back negative. I got a blood test done and all of that to prove I had the virus. And until I got on the plane and actually landed in Arunachal and did another test over there, I wasn't sure whether I was going to be on the ride. So
Yeah.
it was pretty exhausting and exciting at the same time.
Yeah,
But
she gave
yeah,
us sleep.
the vibe and all really took care of like all the tests, and
Hmm.
we had like elder people on the shoot as well, so they wanted to be extra careful.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of precautions and all in place, something that you wouldn't have done if you were just doing like a trip by yourself.
Correct. Yeah. So, Asad, on the production side of this, on the behind the scenes that happens, how stressed were you guys? Because
Oh,
Candida
so that's
mentioned,
what I'm telling you. So the
yeah.
show was at the verge of just falling apart because
Oh God.
Canada tested positive, and one of her tests came positive, and like we were a crew of 18 people traveling, so we needed to create this secure and safe environment for everybody participating in the shoot. So almost like a bio bubble. So
Yeah.
we needed to make sure that everyone was healthy and not tested negative, and that was a prerequisite for the production itself. And when Canada tested, one of the tests came positive. We had at least back-to-back 3 sleepless nights trying to figure out
I can
whether
imagine.
and there was and when you're going for such a long ride, 17-day ride, the camaraderie between the riders is super important, and the rest of the riders were only comfortable riding with Canada, and they didn't want to ride with somebody new and figure out things there. So it was really hard to actually find a last minute stand-in or replacement for Canada as well. So that gave me nightmares, and I mean, the network as well, MX was like, okay, if this is the case, then let's call the show off as well. They were telling, and
Okay.
we had already spent like 4 weeks to bring it up to this stage. So it was quite the last leg of the preparation, especially the last week. We prepared, we put the show together in like literally 4 weeks remotely from different places. Yeah, the biggest jitter was Canada testing positive, and then we made her test like at least 5-6 times more, and finally we had to make sure everybody was comfortable doing the ride, because we were going to spend 17 days and we didn't want to have uneasiness between the crew and anybody. We wanted that to be like really sorted out.
Canada, can you tell me what, if you can pick the most memorable moment from this entire shoot, what would it be, the entire ride?
I would say that all the 17 days has been super memorable. Because like I told you, 7 months at home, and I finally got to be out there on a motorcycle. And but if I would pick out one moment, um,
God, she's thinking so much. She had so many moments.
Asad has the answer for
so
you.
many moments that I can't even think of one. You go first, Asad.
What do you mean? She's asked you the question. So I think for me, it was we had this. We had to reach our final destination, which was Balong, which is the easternmost part of the country, and we started riding at like I think 5 a.m. in the morning, and then we reached. It was a proper 12-13 hour ride, to finish the last leg of the journey, and it was pouring. It was just dumping rain, and it was like 2 degrees. These guys were fully wet. We were at least still in the cars, but the riders, they were like fully wet, and we reached this place, and the guest house, and there are only these government guest houses that are there, and that was facilitated by a local fixer, and we went there, and the guest houses were like just abducted, like somebody else had just taken them, and there's no concept of a booking, and like they were just like, no, I'm
I don't
sorry,
mean
yeah,
to
you had a
laugh,
book.
but
Yeah, So we were like fully wet and, in the rain, and it's 2 degrees outside, and, sun's going to set like in 10 minutes from now. It's going to be pitch dark, and we didn't have a roof over our heads. And we had a trek to do the next day in the morning to reach this point.
Yeah.
So I was really stressed. And I think the way we just quickly adapted to that situation, and, just everyone was just so cooperative, and everyone just, understood what was happening, and, kind of adjusted, and that was like a really nice, memorable moment for me.
Say the first day when I landed over there, like I was telling you, it was so uncertain. I did not know whether I could actually be on side. Even when I landed at the airport, I was still super scared because people were asking me for so many documents and forms and all of that. So I landed, the car came and picked me up, and I went straight to this highway where my bike was waiting for me. I changed in the car itself and I got onto the motorcycle and then started riding, and I met the bikers and I was so happy to see them. Like I couldn't stop like hugging them and stuff because I was seeing them after so many months. But that first day when we were riding, we passed this really awesome bridge with like I think the Brahmaputra or something flowing. And then we took like a U-turn and we went down the bridge. We rode on the banks of this river. And at that time, the sun was also setting on the very first
Yeah,
day.
it was the
And it
first
was,
sunset, of the
yeah, it
trip.
was the first sunset and it was so, so beautiful. And I was just like thanking God and thanking all my stars for having made it to be there at that moment with my best friends and stuff like that. So that was an incredible moment. Yeah.
So, Asad, tell me, you said that you all made this back in 2017 on YouTube, and now then MX Player came in. So, budgets must have gone up, and the scale has definitely gone up
Of course.
from what I've seen. So, was there any sort of stress, pressure, or, were you more excited to,
I mean,
okay,
yeah,
or better
for
hoga?
me, it was like I was making a long format show after like I think almost 5 years. So now we started, the Vibe Studios, which was focusing on building long format content. That's when MX happened, and MX said, okay, we want to try out Cruising Legends and let's see how this does. And they were really supportive in terms of giving me that freedom to go ahead and have the build out the canvas for the show. And that was very important because I would only work with somebody who would give me that leeway and exposure. Yeah.
With OTT coming into play and with more digital platforms giving a chance to say creators or to a production side of the things, and then there are also creators who are in the forefront, right? The people, the faces, so to speak, like Candida, bikers, or there are so many different kinds of influencers, creators out there who wouldn't get this chance a few years ago. But now with OTT platforms sort of taking roots in India, that is happening. So from both perspectives, Canada, you and us, you as well, I would like to know, how do you think these opportunities have helped or changed lives for people in this entertainment space or creation space?
Candra, you want to go first?
Yeah. So all this time we were only creating content on like Instagram, YouTube, and that is like only to the audience that you have built over the years.
Correct.
But OTT gives us a platform, like reach out to a different kind of audience, someone that's not really interested in motorcycling and stuff, but like the more of the youngsters that are just starting off, and it just opens up a different platform for somebody like us. And like like having a web series or a TV show on this scale also gives bikers like us more opportunities to go out and do other things. So I think it's definitely a good thing, especially like Cruising Legends. I think is the first show on motorcyclist from India. Like not seen something like this before. So that's one good thing as well.
So I feel like that's what like Canada said. motorcycling in India is huge.
Hmm.
Okay, and globally, if you see, motorcycling is a cult.
Yeah.
Right? It's a huge culture.
It is.
It's a means of travel, and we've been consuming, like, at least the whole millennial generation has been consuming motorcycling content globally, which shows like Long Way Up, Why We Ride, and Motorcycle Diaries, whatever. Like, we've seen motorcycling be a cult. We understand it, and now in India it's getting exposed because of all the social media platforms, right? I mean, 10 years back, you wouldn't have an influencer like Candida, right? I mean, you wouldn't have people like me, Harsh, and this thing. It was like very conventional. You either have like TV show or something like that, which would this thing. But now these guys have made their own voices, with social and Instagram and YouTube and all of this blowing up. So right now, I feel like whatever you have to market on OTTs, you anyway have to do it via this segue, of this thing. So it works very seamlessly, right? Yeah. You're producing a new show, you anyway need to promote it on
across
YouTube
channels,
and this thing. So it only makes sense that now the casting and the positioning of OTT shows work hand in hand with people who have that kind of presence in and have that voice in Instagram and stuff like that. So that's what makes it very, very merge seamlessly in that sense. So I feel like the narratives are going to blend in that sense, where all your Instagram influencers are going to be, your OTT stars and, people who can give you that nuance and gravitas in terms of pulling off story, at least in non-fiction. I'm speaking about non-fiction. Fiction, it's a whole different ballgame, I mean, you have to be credible actors to do this. Here, they're not acting in non-fiction. They're living their lives. So in non-fiction, I feel that's the new norm that's going to take off, where really credible and authentic influencers who have their base on platforms like Instagram and YouTube can now transcend over to OTT and reach out to a larger audience, have a bigger marketing play, and be out there.
But explain to me, okay, as someone who is interested in this content but has never bothered to understand the workings of it. Do you have to be a writer to actually be able to like shoot?
No, so that's what I want to tell you. I'm the showrunner of this show. I don't know how to motorcycle.
Oh.
So I'm not a motorcyclist. I'm not a motorcyclist. It's about understand. That's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, these are human beings, and it's about understanding their emotion related to this, culture. Right? It's and I, as a storyteller, this was my job. My job is not to know motorcycling. My job is to tell their story and their emotion connected to the culture of motorcycling. We never made this show for it to be consumed by motorcyclists. We wanted anybody who just loves travel and exploring and wants to this thing. Motorcycling is a means to that. You don't need to know that. You need to know the emotion. That is universal. The emotion is universal. So whatever the struggles and everything, those are all human emotions, and that's what we're bringing a relatability to.
Moving a little bit away from the show, Candida, I wanted to ask you this personally. Back in, you said, Asad mentioned that back in 2017, they wanted you to be a part of their show. And because you were doing something so different than what a lot of people were. From then to even before when your journey began to now, what has your experience been like? Was there ever a pushback? Tabhi, that, oh, why are you doing this and stuff, to now where people are more accepting and more, I don't know, like inspired, so to speak, because you do have a massive online community as well. So how has that changed over the years?
A lot has changed over the years. Like even say in 2015, when I did a solo ride across India covering 32,000 kilometers in 22 states, even at that time, like after covering the entire India, I think I hardly met say 20 or 30 other women bikers. At that time, there were very few of us. Like I would say we were hardly 1,000 women bikers in a population of more than 1.3 billion people or 2 billion people, whatever. But like now, over the years, there's at least 10,000 women bikers across India. So there has definitely been a change. People are more supportive these days.
Hmm.
Uh, Families are more encouraging. A lot of men out there are also very supportive, getting their sisters, wives, and stuff to get on a motorcycle and start riding, as well as a lot of organizations as well have started where they're training more women out there to ride and do stuff. So I think women are also realizing that a motorcycle gives them the freedom, the independence, uh, to go and do whatever they want. So that is the major difference I've seen. Also, like initially when I started riding, I used to be made fun of, or like there were a lot of like teasing on the road. Boys would make fun of me and stuff. But I think now over the years, a lot of uh, a lot of people have gotten used to the idea of, yes, women can ride, and
Hmm.
seeing them more often on a motorcycle definitely makes a difference. And like with shows like this, that also creates a thing in their head that women can ride off roads and get into tough situations on the way and still overcome all of it. So yeah, that's that's all I have.
Okay. And what would you like to tell, motorcycling enthusiasts, females out there who want to try this? Any message for them that you have?
Uh, if you're really passionate about motorcycles and motorcycling, I don't think you should think too much. Just go out there and do it. Because we live in such a beautiful, wonderful world, and like the COVID times only teaches you that you don't really have so much time in this world, but you should try and do whatever you can at the earliest. And uh, yeah, just fall in love with the experiences that you can like experience while on a motorcycle, and the
Yeah.
people you meet, the food on the way, and just like these incredible places that you can go to on a motorcycle is like uncomparable. Like if you were traveling on a bus or a train, you wouldn't get to experience something like when being on a motorcycle. It just takes you to places that you never imagined before. So yeah, so just dream big and like work hard and achieve it.
That's great. Guys, so before I let you go, one last in the line, if you could tell our viewers why they should watch Cruising Legends on MX Player. Asad, want to go first?
I mean, just to know life from the perspective of motorcyclists and value it for the experiences it has to offer. You know, that's something, and especially in these times, I feel like that's more relevant. You know, it's
Hmm.
so much hope, and you just respect. You don't take anything for granted after watching a show like that, and we're super proud of what we've done. Thanks. Yeah.
Candida?
Yeah, first of all, go watch the show, because like during these uncertain times and just being stuck at home, this is like a brilliant binge watch that you and your family can have like over
Yeah.
the weekend, or stuff like that. Plus, like Asad said, it just shows you that there's so much to see out there. When things get better, you can be hopeful of what's to come. Also, to enjoy every single moment in your life, because time is kind of short. So like value the things that you really love, value friendships, family, and motorcycles, and the bonds that you make along the way.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys. I really had a great time talking to you and getting to know all this behind the scenes madness that happened. Thank you
So,
so much, guys.
thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank
Bye
you.
Priyanka.
bye.
Thank you, Asad. Bye bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.